Welcome again to Morning Manna. My name is Anna, and this is part 3 of our series this week called Impossible? It's Possible. Today we'll look at a story of great faith and impossible provision. In 1 Kings 17, we meet a prophet named Elijah as he prophesies to King Ahab that the Lord is going to send drought to their land. Now, drought means a lack of rain that will cause water to dry up or be used up everywhere. And a lack of water means that things that need water can't grow and will eventually stop living. For a season, God fed Elijah through ravens. The Lord caused these scavenger birds to gather food and bring it to Elijah, and this kept him nourished throughout the drought and famine. But Elijah, he also drank from a brook, but after a while, the brook dried up. And then in verse 8, the Lord said, "Arise and go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow there to feed you." So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, a widow was there gathering sticks, and he called to her and said, "Bring me a little water in a vessel that I may drink." And as she was going to bring it, he called to her and said, "Bring me a morsel of bread in your hand." And she said, "As the Lord your God lives, I have nothing baked, only a handful of flour in a jar and a little oil in a jug. And now I'm gathering a couple of sticks that I may go in and prepare it for myself and my son, that we may eat and die." When God called Elijah and told him to go, that he had commanded a widow to feed him, I would think that he would be sending him to a widow who had a full storehouse and was able to feed him out of her abundance. But instead, God sends him to a widow who's in a desperate situation. She's at the end of her supplies, and she's literally preparing to die. In verse 13, it says, "And Elijah said to her, 'Do not fear. Go and do as I have said. But first, make me a little cake of it and bring it to me. And afterward, make something for yourself and for your son. For thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, the jar of flour shall not be spent, and the jug of oil shall not be empty until the day that the Lord sends rain upon the earth.'" God asked her, this widow, in a desperate situation, to give everything that she had, and in return, he promised her provision without end. Verse 15 goes on, it says, "And she went and did as Elijah said, and she and he and her household ate for many days. The flour was not spent, neither did the jug of oil become empty, according to the word of the Lord that he spoke by Elijah." Perhaps, like this widow, you're looking at dwindling resources, but sensing God leading you to a new level of generosity. God gave her impossible provision, but it came through the door of impossible generosity. Here's a promise and a blessing for your life from 2 Corinthians chapter 9. "He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will supply and multiply your seed for sowing and increase the harvest of your righteousness." And I'd like to turn verse 11 into a blessing. "May you be enriched in every way to be generous in every way, and may it produce in you and through you thanksgiving to God."